Take a time to fill out the survey while letting the cool down continue to wash over you and begin sliding into the discussion space. Thank you, Con, for that wonderful guidance. Thanks for everyone showing for showing up. A lot of familiar faces here. Okay. So how is it for you guys? How was your sit, Jace?
Still cooling down. It's a nice set. Actually,
Still
very
cool.
nourishing. Went way deeper than I thought I would. Uh, it's interesting, actually, to revisit this very beginning again, this idea of beginner's mind, and just re-examining what it is to meet myself at where I am, which is much needed, actually. I think it has been a very busy week and just a lot of parts of me that I don't know if anyone resonate with that. Like sometimes when you come into a sit, you just have this sense that like something is beckoning you to see this for a while, and then finally you see.
Wait, you saw it before and it comes back up, or
Oh no, sometimes it's just like you've been hanging on for a while, not wanting to see something.
oh, okay.
And then maybe it's also like beckoning you to see for a while already, but you just haven't like made yourself available to see it. And then this practice sometimes is just sitting down and then like, finally you see me. I see you. You see me. Yeah. I don't know. Not sure if that resonates. Um, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. How about you? What's your house of sit, Frank?
Yeah, I haven't said in like a week or something, so it was quite
Same.
refreshing. I don't know. It's me and me and Jace have an interview coming up. It's gonna be released pretty soon for you guys to check out. That's a really interesting one. Yeah, I was kind of busy editing that one. And there's also another interview with another member of ours, Tyson. He does fitness training as well. So I've been just kind of editing those interviews and just kind of I don't know, there's just no pull to sit until after the trip. I took a little trip a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago. Just no pull to sit. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's good for everyone to know that the whole team is really busy getting the cohort space ready for the next
It's
cohort.
busy. Yeah, it's super busy for to welcome you guys, whoever wants to
Yeah.
join. This is kind of like a last minute. decisions. Let's just give it a free trial, which is great for us too to actually have this. At first, I was like, man, and I thought on break, and at least I get to sleep in. But it's nice to wake up earlier again because usually I wake up at like 6, but I've been waking up a little later this past week. It's nice to get back into the
Mm.
yeah the
I
yeah we
think
went
one,
deeper. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
yeah, no, like I think one main thing in like CC that I learned is that you just got to like work, and being at ease and at work is no difference.
Yeah,
It's
just like
just gotta learn. And I think that's what I take away from CC, I think. Yeah. Actually,
but
I think
there's still the
I'm
grind though. There's
yeah,
still the
of
grind.
course,
Yeah,
there's a
it's
huge
not.
grind, always
Yeah, but
grinding.
yeah.
I thought I'm quite curious actually. There's quite a number of us. Probably would not be able to hear from everybody today. But like maybe how about just everyone drop like a couple of words like how the practice was in the chat so that we could just have a sense. And maybe we could pick up the discussion from there as well. Oh, yeah, I could also see the poll. Who shared the poll results? Is it Khan? Yeah, but if so sleepy, notice cycling. Hmm. I just saw the poll results. Well, not too bad. Actually, most of you were quite lucid. Spaciousness, economist. Hmm. I think seems like a nice sit for most people, although even if it isn't, it doesn't matter. Oh, nice. No, Kali, nice to see you again. It's like confronting but peaceful. That's a nice contradiction. Do you want to say something to that?
Confronting for peaceful.
Yeah.
I think I just hadn't noticed all these like rigidness that I was feeling in my body, and I guess I wasn't even looking at just like my breath. Like I forgot to just track my breath in like everyday life, and like just like really basic things that I thought I had down, but I'm noticing I don't. So that was kind of challenging.
Mm, yeah. I could resonate.
I don't know. If I could say something real quick.
Yeah, sure.
Uh,
Go ahead,
I
Ryan.
think like sorry, how do you pronounce your name? Is it Kaylee?
Gaoli.
Cowley. So I resonate with that because there's been many times where I thought I've been like kind of like done with a certain thing. But then I remember watching an episode, I think it was of CC, where it was like I think Khan said about it's like A, C, D, Z, X, kind of like analogy for like you kind of like bounce almost back and forth in this kind of dynamic kind of like way where like you kind of maybe think you're done with something, then it kind of comes back and then you comes back and forth and then you kind of like lose your reference point in the sense.
Yeah, it's so easy, like how distracted you can get, like losing your train of thought and like coming back and noticing what it is that is like you're holding on to.
a lot
Yeah,
about
Kali did a
seeing.
boot. Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
Kali
go
did
ahead,
a
Frank.
boot camp with us on Cohort 5. How's it compared to when we're sitting every day?
How is it compared to when we were sitting?
Yeah, I was telling everyone you did a boot camp with us like 2 cohorts ago. I was wondering how does it feel to come back and sit with us again compared to when we're just sitting every day, like more like officially.
I feel more open-minded. I don't even remember exactly the last cohort, but I remember it feeling really intense at some points. And I remember almost feeling like I'm hiding during the first cohort, like the whole time, or like not participating as much. And now I'm realizing that's like also, like you guys mentioned, that's part of the training is participating, and I'm noticing more of like a coming out of a shell. I guess I'm just more open
Mm,
now.
that's
Mm.
nice.
I
Thanks
can
for sharing.
feel, yeah, I can feel like a difference in your energy. Maybe that's why I call you out. I was like, no hiding. Come on out and talk. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel humbled.
But it's good to see you again. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't.
sometimes we can notice like when you try to hide the self in this concavity, actually, if you're aware of the fact that you're hiding, it actually makes it almost a separated self pop up even more.
Mm.
It's generating this
Mm.
concavity, just like layer after layer. And it's just retrieving. And a lot of us, not a portion of us have to contend with that, actually.
Yeah.
Some people like have to contend with like talking too much, like myself. But others kind of have to contend with, you know, the shyness or the inability to express yourself. And the discussion space is a really good space for you to like, really see your own view that way.
See, I already feel that because, like, to be honest, like, I feel like nervousness about talking, like, kind of in these kind of ways about this. Because in my life, like, um, if I was to go back to what Khan was saying when we were doing the sit earlier, and when he was explaining through this, he was saying about like not like quite a lot of us don't have many people around us that kind of resonate or that you can talk to about this in a way where it clicks in a sense. And for me right now, that feels really kind of like it feels opening, but also quite like at the same time, like it feels quite intense. It has like a certain intensity to it, um, which is brilliant. I love it. But um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know. Does anyone else kind of feel that as well right now?
Yeah, intensity is our signature. Yeah, I mean, among the mentors team, we like to joke that, well, it's not a joke actually. You got to be a bit unhinged to be in CC. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I felt a bit unhinged throughout my life, to be honest.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's true. Um, and then
Yeah.
I think it's interesting because it's like talking about like being a little bit crazy, a bit unhinged or intense, but at the same time when we're sitting there, how basic things can be. It's like, why is it that people don't get it?
Yeah.
The
I think I
simplicity
don't
of
know.
it. Yeah.
It's that kind of sense of um, like you have got to kind of be a bit, kind of got to throw yourself into stuff a little bit. Well, not even a little bit, but like that kind of holding both, like kind of that insane element, but also that stable, not as insane element simultaneously. It feels like, and sometimes it felt like I'm going to explode in certain times, not in like a kind of like kind of way, maybe a little bit of points, but um, yeah, I'd say that, yeah, that kind of like throwing yourself in the deep end with such things and really cracking the shell of what's ever seeming to hold you back in that moment is really quite transformative, because I don't know, there's so many things that we kind of tend to avoid in those aspects. Like, I don't know, like I like free climbing with my friend and things like that.
Mm.
And there's been certain moments where like you kind of feel like you have to kind of take a leap to something with like a where you have no idea if there's going to be like a handhold or a gripping or a foot grip or anything there, but there's no way back, and there's you can only do that, and then there's maybe a drop beneath. And in those moments, I've definitely felt a lot of like kind of like fear come up and stuff like that. But then I feel like you kind of have to go for it, and you don't really know what the outcome will be or anything to do with it. But then
Mm.
I feel like that's kind of where the enjoyment comes in as well at the same time in a strange kind of way.
Mm. It's like enjoyment and scary at the same time, maybe.
Yeah, it's like that kind of thing where it's like excitement and nervousness, where they say it's like the same chemical or whatever it is, or like the same feel. I mean, directly almost it is, and yeah, there's like a certain where you get like the adrenaline junkies and things like that kind of go with that kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? They're always pushing that precipice in a sense.
Does anyone else resonate, or you could have totally different experience as well? If anybody else wants to share.
Yeah, for me, it was similar. Excuse me. Yeah, I just noticed that I would get into like the sensations of, like when we started out, we were just like feeling the sensations of the tension in the head, in the heart, going down into the heart, just breathing through everything. And yeah, I noticed like certain concepts or certain like, what's the word? Like, things that I'm like I'm living in this like certain structure for perception. And it's just noticing one after the other and just zooming out, zooming out, zooming out, zooming out, and just um, being with that, letting it be, being with that, letting it be. And then it's just like rapidly coming out. But yeah, it's like also I really noticed something. Okay, one thing that I really noticed that I took away from today was just recognizing how severely and completely and utterly, totally trapped I am, and how freeing that just to really get how completely and utterly trapped I am was total freedom. And yeah, I don't really know how to put it to words, but yeah.
You did put it into words.
I
You
did.
just did. Yeah, you just did. Yeah. It's like I think a lot of us would probably find this the same experience of finding it difficult sometimes to share our experiences, and mainly because like sometimes it just seems so contradictory, which is why I asked Carly about her words as well. It's like confronting yet peaceful. And then here you are, it's like I think what you just described to me sounds like some form of a deep recognition. And I think a huge part of what we're doing in the bootcamp is allowing that recognition to keep coming through as well. And not just that recognition, but also resting in that recognition. Yeah, I mean, it's Frank's favorite words, like rest and recognize. So, yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, they feed on each other. The more you rest, the more you can recognize, and vice versa.
Yeah.
Just and it becomes like a constant ongoing of rest and recognizing. Even
Mm.
resting as restlessness too. It's not like resting is only about feeling good, which is a lot of the time a misconception about what meditation should be. We have to be in this calm space. Not that it's not that, right? But resting is the fitness to be with whatever's arising, whether that's, whether you're down, you're up, you're quantum, it doesn't really matter. It's like the attitude towards abiding in some kind of a ultimate state. It's so common, and people can be meditating for like 20 or 30 years, especially people, at least what I observe, people who go to Vipassana retreats a lot, who always have this kind of inclination to act equanimous. I mean, Cece would talk about destroying the equanimity engine, which is a metaphor for really just self-invalidating any kind of um, preconceptions or conception you have about what meditation is, what realization is, and like any sort of a ground to an ultimate is to be resting into and recognizing as just a way that the mind is aggregating rather than a particular kind of state that you are striving towards. But then the other side of that extreme is like, oh, other than just like chasing for the ultimate state is actually it's the same extreme as not having any state. Oh, there's meditation is useless. It's not about states. It's not about jhanas. So, okay, we don't even need to practice. So
Yeah,
right
that
there is like how we yeah, that one, yeah. It's easy to bypass like that too. It's like let's get zenned out and this pathless path. But then as Jay said, the contradictions and the paradoxes is was all part of the recognition of, oh, you can actually hold many, many contradictions and paradoxes without them actually contradicting each other, like the pathless path and the gradual path. It's one of the most common questions people ask. It's like, is it a gradual path? Is there a path or is there no path? Yeah, they're not contradictory at all. Yeah. And a lot of what we do here is what I just kind of expounded, like refining where your view, like how is your mind grasping onto certain kind of view, and how does the mind aggregate to manifest this view or that view? And are you seeing that you're actually clinging on to this kind of a certain type of aggregation, certain kind of configuration of the mind versus another? Are you like aversing, feeling aversive towards this kind of state versus that kind of state? Well, that is part of the recognition. Yeah. So you're gonna
can
say
you
something,
type?
Ryan?
I was going to say like, oh, sorry, I was going to say that like, um, you can even get that with rest and recognize. Like, I remember you could even frame that in any kind of way, couldn't you? Like, so I remember I kind of did something like that for a while. Like, I'll be thinking about what rest and recognize is like, almost associating it with like being in relaxed states in a sense, but a lot in like almost like well, equanimous or like peaceful states. And it's just like, but then what is like rest or recognize and such? Like, if you to even frame it in any particular way, like, I don't know, what helped me with something like that is like, I don't know, I like to jumble up words and their letters in the words and like how they would be like framed of how you'd even see it in like infinite ways of what rest would be. Say if you did like uh, erst or or whatever you would say of like, and then like spell it out in ways. And and then it kind of like lose all kind of framing around what it is. I don't know, that's kind of helped me in certain things. And like 'cause I feel like you can easily get stuck on like what rest means or like recognize means or anything like that. And then that can create its own kind of like concavity as you would put it before and things like that. Because like that's
Yeah.
definitely been like a sticking point for me for a while at points is like certain things you continuously like notice where like how you're conceptualizing or framing a certain like word and what it could possibly mean in a certain context of how you've associated it with like how you've heard it throughout your life, or what kind of context people have said it in, which are like traps and stuff. But yeah, it's very freeing to kind of like see it in no particular way and such.
Yeah, and you just recognizing to that, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Generating what resting means. At least you're aware of it and recognizing the patterns. Man, and the words of rest and recognize seem so simple, but the degree in which you can rest, like the fitness in which you can rest, regardless of like how bombastic the experience is,
Mm.
and the clarity and the lucidity of the recognition is a huge difference in the range in which you can continuously increase the fitness in both. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was wondering if you can talk more about the equanimous engine, like breaking that. Like, what do you mean by that? Devin here.
You- Devin?
Yeah, yeah. What's up?
Hey, Devin. Trying to find you where you are. Your voice sounds familiar.
Devin
Really?
was
I don't
just
think I would.
saying, he's just saying in the chat that he feels like it's quite surreal to be with you in the Zoom call.
Yeah, really? Oh,
Yeah,
interesting.
I've been following you for like 7 years, and it's been a
Your voice
wild
sounds
ride.
familiar. Yeah. Anyways, the breaking the equanimity engine, it just means seeing how the equanimity is a byproduct really to this practice, right? It's not the goal really, at least the way we approach it. I mean, it's not like it's wrong to have that as a goal. At first, when you start meditating, obviously your mind is perhaps very noisy and not collected, and it's okay to like, okay, let's just sit down and watch our breath and let's just get equanimous. Yeah, but the moment you make equanimity into like a goal to have, it's like, okay, if I'm not equanimous in this sit versus that sit, there's a sense of measurement, and that then you can fall into a trap of clinging out to a certain state.
Yeah,
But it's
for
not
me,
just
Everything.
it's
destroying the equanimity engine. Is it can apply to other states as well. It's just like very common for people who get into meditation to just automatically assume that equanimity is like the goal. But it was never for
yeah. I feel
me.
like
Yeah. So it depends.
yeah, I kind of want to feel more again, more than be equanimous. I don't know if that's
Feel.
something. Yeah, like be more
Yeah.
sensitive to things, and
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
You mean like your range of feelings have like increased, different intensities?
I don't know if it's kind of like getting rigid when you experience more things in life, or just like it's like healing, like feeling, just being able to feel more because of certain things, yeah.
Mm.
Or just being equanimous to be able to deal with more stuff.
Mm.
There's more
Yeah.
range.
Yeah. To me, equanimity doesn't, like I said, doesn't mean a peace of mind, but of course it can
Yeah.
be. But you can actually find equanimity in chaos too, right? It's like when
Mm.
you stop clinging on to any kind of state, then that's equanimity. And then
Mm.
it's just life, emotions and life. There's all kinds of feelings arise, and you just rest. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
And
And then you
I
get
think
equanimous as a byproduct. It's like yeah, it's like ultimate equanimity versus like conventional or like maybe conditioned equanimity. Unconditioned
it's about,
equanimity isn't dependent on conditionings in a sense. It's just the
yeah,
nature of
like
life, nature of
I think a
mind.
lot of people like can be restless, can be like feeling a lot of chaos in your thinking, and it doesn't matter. It's in the end it's a relationship with it. So it's like
Mm,
I
yeah.
think some of you is also talking about, having old patterns come up, sensing like looping in cycles of emotions, or sometimes it's just thoughts keep coming, distractions and stuff like that. But I always like to tell people that actually every time that you notice how distracted you are in a sit, it's great, because like if you notice that you have like distracted 100 times, that means you have practiced 100 times recognition. And maybe the resting is not as skillful yet, but it comes with practice and reps. I think Matthews, is that how I pronounce your name?
Hi, Jace. It's
Hey.
Mateus.
Yeah.
Can you
Matthews.
hear me? It's
Yeah, it's good.
okay because I'm
Yeah.
using a new phone, right? So I would like to describe equanimity in my experience. It's like it's something pervasive. For example, here in the beginning of the meeting, when Khan was speaking and all of that, I was just casually drinking coffee, a cup of coffee. Then he said something about the energy of everything, and something just triggered me. I was like, well, am I being disrespectful because I'm drinking coffee? Then suddenly I became a lot self-centered, you know. But probably I wasn't even on his screen. There are around 40 people on the chat, you know. But suddenly I became the center of everything, and I was like, okay, interesting. Then I decided to take another cup of coffee just to observe. Not, I didn't mean to disrespect anyone, but I just, okay, I'll drink another one and I will observe myself. And this self-centeredness, it also possesses some quality of equanimity, like as if it was pervasive. Pervasive. I was just observing the moment, and that's all. Then after, when we began to meditate, I just dropped out into that full spaciousness quality, and there was equanimity in the equanimity. I don't know if I can express myself precisely, but it's something like that, you know. After some time of practice, you begin to notice that equanimity is just like another side of the experience in itself. So there's no reason to actually pursue equanimity. Just rest and observe that this quality will become spontaneously evident. You can see this in all situations.
Yeah, I feel like if you're too equanimous, like you're focused on, you can come off as contemptful and like avoiding like if you see someone suffering and you're just focused on equanimity, then you're just kind of it's just that's contempt. So that's kind of fortunate.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, just drinking coffee sounds pretty divine to me right now. So,
Yeah,
like
it's day one, and this caliber of discussion is already
I know,
getting
right,
pretty
John?
good, right? Oh man, yeah, I'm liking where all this is going. Just like Jason, Frank, I haven't sat for like a week maybe, so it's good to get back into things, and I've definitely felt what Jason was saying, kind of meeting myself where I'm at. And I haven't took the time just to do just that, and kind of how Kelly was mentioning, is like, oh shit, I forgot that I can still always work on the quote unquote basics. And even what Ryan was saying about that excitement. I think I've mentioned to Jace before, previous boot camps, that being in CC is just like, in a way, the practice of being completely naked. And it's pretty exciting sometimes just to bear it all. Yeah, getting back at swing of things feels good.
John is our
Thanks,
senior
John.
mentor, by the way.
Yeah, this guy's a Taoist master.
Yes. You see him do some kung fu.
Something like that.
That's actually really funny. I met a Taoist master very recently at a Vipassana retreat though in Malaysia. Which is really funny.
Oh yeah,
So,
what was he trying to get out of Vipassana through his Taoist training? Just very curious.
I don't know. He was very wealthy.
Yeah.
He said he had like a good life. I'm like always around really rich people for some reason. I don't know why. Just like millionaires and stuff, but what's he trying to get? I guess he's just getting old, and he's like, I just wanna explore another avenue of life or something. Because Taoist is very like esoteric and like I'm sure you know it's like a lot of like spirits and the afterlife stuff, John. But so keeps telling me about like his stories of how like uh, it's a little out there, but I think his mom had an abortion, and then he had like a dream or like he saw his like sister or something like being like, why wasn't I born? You know? And then he's like, go ask my dad. Like I don't know, or something. So never mind. That's irrelevant. All right.
No, you're good. I'm still exploring what it even means to be a Taoist. Really, I just practice kung fu and I enjoy the energetics of it all. I'm not too
It's
Yeah, it's more
wild,
like your
man.
disposition.
yeah, it's just my
It's
disposition.
this really is more. It's closer to Taoist maybe than other traditions. But
Yeah. I mean, by now, I think for those who did share, it seems like you probably already like sense the importance of like how yogic actually practice is. It's not just so much about the mind, but a lot of times it's with absolutely sensing um the different maneuvers, the I mean, even if it's so-called what the mind is doing, is pretty much what the body is also doing. And I think this is what Khan is also trying to transmit when he talks about postures. It's not just about mental postures, but physical postures as well. So yeah,
I
in
think it's
CC we are
fluid as well. Like that kind of like well, the physical and mental posture is quite fluid because like going back to when you like John when you're saying like kung fu, I don't know how long you've been doing it, but like do you do a lot of like kind of like intuitive kind of like movement kung fu stuff with
I
like
do.
your yeah, I love the kind of like how the just the energetics of it are. Like I just think like it's so like so releasing in a way because like when I'm not
Mm-hmm.
do intuitive kung fu, I don't do intuitive kung fu, but like I do love like intuitive movement stuff. Like I just kind of find myself doing it sometimes after I've like kind of like went for a walk or I've stopped somewhere or I'm in my room. I'll just like kind of like
Yeah.
kind of really feeling or sense into where it's whatever's happening, kind of like spotting if I'm like trying to
Yeah.
project into like something that I feel like the next move should be. Do you know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
like that's so like I feel like that's so like I feel like it's so important to spot as well. Is it like how much you kind of trying to like kind of like force it into a box of what you think is going to be the next right thing to be in a
Mm-hmm.
sense, and
Yeah.
like the more like you kind of like give in to that kind of like I have absolutely no idea where the next thing's going to be and such, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, I love that kind of thing. It's so like it's so refreshing, so releasing. I
Yeah.
could say get any word here
To
about
to
that.
freely express, right? To freely
Yeah.
express. Yeah. I don't find it too different at all than our training that we do here at CC. You know, like how Khan was expressing the really the unseparateness of the expressions of our posture, be it mentally or physically. Uh, and when we're doing all this practice, it's really getting down to the layers of how we're expressing, how we're becoming. And to clarify that, to freely express takes a lot of practice just to do whatever you want, what you really want. So,
Yeah. I
yeah.
think it's how we split as well, like how we're like splitting as like Frank you've talked about in like various like episodes and such, right? It's like how we like split and box like how we like like say with like the posturing and such, like how we would frame it as like this is how I am now, but then that's different to how it would be then or whatever. Like and not seeing it as like that this is where this happens, but then that's not where that could happen, for example. I don't know. Like
Yeah. Like
like
it's
how
not
we
about
like
that cup of coffee.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
not
Like
about
just
the
like really
equanimity.
sensing into the taste of
Yeah.
the cup of coffee and like the notes and everything and like how are you like splitting and separating those notes? Like how like is it one note? Is it many notes? Like and like but then really like going into the sense of like the sense of the heat, the warmth of whatever that's going on in your mouth, like whether it's thick or rich or whatever you want to apply to it. And I think yeah, like I've been noticing like while I've been doing the washing up downstairs and such, like there's been a lot of times where, say, with like washing up, like we'd want to kind of like, especially my mum and such, would want to be like concentrating on really just getting it done, like concentrating so much on the end result. Um, and like what I've kind of been incorporating with like doing washing up is kind of doing like certain, well, like paying attention to my breath while I'm doing the washing up and such. And I was doing like some like breathing like thing that was like where you in through your nose, out through your mouth, in through your mouth, out through your nose. Because I saw your video on something, it was some video I saw by you, Frank, at one point when I was like, oh, I'll try that out. That's kind of been like something that I've been kind of incorporating with going for runs and such. But that's what I mean. I feel like, yeah, we can get so caught in like this is this and this is that and this is where I should be practicing this is where I should be practicing that. And instead of experimenting and seeing how much we can blend and stitch and morph and whatever together, and I think that that creates more like playfulness and makes you enjoy what you're doing more in it because it can feel like rigid if not. But yeah, anyway, I'll let someone else speak now. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, the kung fu is really just life, you know. Like we talk about mind training, and then okay, let's go to the body now. But then you say that mind is indistinguishable from life. I can't even find where my mind is actually. There's just like this entire field, right? And this field is made up of interconnectedness and relations. That's why I spend a lot of time actually training in how to relate, even right now. Yeah,
I saw Tyson like vigorously nodding just now.
yeah.
Do you want to say
I
something,
guess.
Tyson?
Uh, yeah, it's nice because it's almost like um, I don't know. People say things and it resonates strongly enough. It feels like people are saying things for me, but it's also good to speak to. That's where I feel like in speaking and feeling like the pressure of attention is like where I experience maybe a lot of intensity. But I really enjoyed Ryan, what you were the different ways, like the intuitive movement and how you describe free climbing too. Like I'm such a sucker for the basics, like the posture, like body and mind posture is like if you can it's almost like in like I really enjoy ceramics, like on a wheel. Like if you can learn how to center, if you can learn that like the most basic fundamental initial point, that's like it impacts the trajectory. And if you get, really far off, that you basically circle, you come back to centering. Like it keeps it's this session for me, I think I resonate with what Jay said about meeting myself where I'm at. It's like going through these cycles of yeah, I guess we'll get into the elements and everything else, but just like the grounding, the feelings, the proliferating, and then circling back over and over, continuing to like meet myself where I'm at. It's all of these relationships. It's my relationships to people, to the narratives, like the belief structures and the invalidation cycles, and then like yeah, like layers of self-acceptance. And yeah, I suppose I'm just really really energized by I guess what everyone's shared so far. It's like a continuous refinement of relating to life experience. Resistance is like how do you relate to resistance in all of its forms? So
You want to say a little bit about what you do, Tyson? Tyson's also a senior mentor, by the way. This is great joy to be showcasing our talents in CC.
Yeah,
He does
what do I
ceramics.
do? I do ceramics. Yeah, I teach people the joy of exertion. Um, uh, yeah, transform. I teach people strength training, or resistance training, but it's like it's not just in the gym. Um, but the gym is an easy medium, really accessible medium. But I teach Taoism, towels.
Yeah, I was gonna mention it. Yeah, he works
You
out with
gotta
this towels
spell it
for how
out.
you
It's gotta spell it out in the on the chat.
Towel, like yeah, I'll spell it.
Like, because I think I was just speak on behalf of Tyson. Like he developed like a whole series of like resistance training using towers. So and then Khan came up for then the name for him, and I think we all love it.
Like actual
Yeah, it's so
towels,
good.
like folding towels and
Bath
stuff.
towels,
Yeah,
bath
like
towels.
towers. Yeah, actually
This guy
towers.
worked out with
yeah.
just a towel for over a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it started with like isometrics, like Bruce Lee and like various strongmen have used it's like if you're pushing against a wall, like you're producing force even if your joints aren't moving. But yeah, I think having to generate all of the mechanical tension on my tissues, and initially I was like pretending to like, oh, someone that I love is trapped under a car and I have to like generate and exert and like find a way to produce all this force. But I found that actually really psychologically taxing. So I needed to learn how to create resistance in a way that was enjoyable, or like I like went through several cycles of like story, like what is the meaning of why I'm doing this. But eventually it developed into a sort of like movement practice that is now inseparable from like the way that I relate to like movement in the gym, or even when I'm running. It's literally like a relationship to resistance. It's like, how do you posture yourself mentally and physically to both be like physically efficient, but also basically like not suffer when you're relating through resistance. Like it's like a um, but yeah, so I teach the joy of exertion.
Would you say there's more joy or equanimity when you're dealing with resistance?
I don't know if there's more of one or the other, joy, equanimity, because it's like there can be really intense sensations, like um, especially when you're really near your like marginal limit. It can feel quite intense, and so sometimes there's joy in that. Some equanimity, yeah, it's like a fine. For me, when I think of moments of yeah, yeah, I don't know if I can point to more of either, but I think that you can experience either of those when you're near your limit.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I think as athletes, with for the athlete to push through certain thresholds, he needs to be able to have the fitness to contend with pain, right, and exertion, and the same with meditation, actually. But then whether or not that pain leads to suffering, that depends on your view. That you can exert
Yeah.
and feel pain without suffering, and that's why a lot of times in CC we talk about like not annihilating desire, things like that, but seeing how your relationship to desire really, or any kind of grasping or pain or whatever the case may be.
Like not trying to like kind of in a sense like
Yeah.
so if you have like when you're running or something and you're like you feel like you're at your limit, and let's say you have a thought of I want this to stop, I want this to end, and then that kind of proliferates to kind of like these sensations and feelings of like it feels almost agonizing or something, like you're
Mm.
like, oh, I want to stop, but then it's like you're noticing in a sense it's like is that kind of trying to manage your experience in a way or in that sense where it's like I guess it's relating to the equanimity kind of side of what I can't remember who just mentioned that a minute ago, but like relating to that aspect, I guess, like, and as what you said earlier, Frank, with like even if it's chaotic, it can be equanimous. So like even in those moments, it's like I guess like you can, as long as you're resting and recognizing like those thoughts that are like tied in with those feelings and so forth, like, like it can feel intense, or like you may have thoughts that seem to come along as like, oh, this is intense, or like, wow, like I don't know if I can handle this or whatever. But if it's just not trying to be managed to like say like force it into a way where it's not naturally occurring right now, then I guess that's the equanimous aspect, isn't it? Like,
yeah, that's a good way to put it. And time back to what John and I think you were also saying about maybe the kung fu flow, like the flow of Taoism, right? To me, the flow is not just a particular kind of state that's dependent on conditioning, where an athlete would enter into a flow state. That's included as well. That becomes like a byproduct, or like an artist who still has a specific kind of goal. I want to get into flow state so I can get this painting done. But the flow of
I mean,
life
that's
itself
not a flow state.
yeah. So the flow of life itself is unconditioned, where it whether or not you're flowing or not flowing from that conventional level of a state or an experience. It's
Yeah.
independent from that, but it's not apart from that either. All the conditions, it's not apart from the unconditioned.
Well, it's like
But at the
how,
same
like, as
time,
well, like the framing of like how we'd state or think about what is flow state. You know what I mean? Or like
yeah.
how you would even think about or frame that in any particular context or scenario. Like maybe at one point, like I don't know, because like I did music at university, and there'd be like we'd go to jam nights and things like that, and there'd be points where it feel like you're not in the flow potentially or something, and like
Yeah,
it
yeah,
kind
yeah.
of like through that kind of like lens of like other people as well, through that natural kind of like you can't even like everyone's seeing through that same kind of lens of like, oh no, like I'm not in the flow, and people like kind of projecting into the future about something, but then it feels like you're like maybe at one moment in the flow or something, but then it's just like, yeah, how we're perceiving or like formulating what we think flow is or is not, is it? And like I think that that's the mind-blowing thing, is like outside of that, what is it or not?
Outside, but not apart from that.
Mm.
Yeah. Then it becomes like the way you describe it is like, oh, everyone else is entering this flow, and this is why I experience this flow. Then it's just like the equanimity engine. You start to chase after that as some kind of a state to achieve.
Sounds like a fruitful day one, yeah? I hope everyone's coming back tomorrow. I'd love to
Yeah,
see
I was
everyone again.
wondering, want to hear from other people. Maybe come back tomorrow and share some
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Anyone like really have something to say before we close day one with 4 more days ahead?
There was something I wanted to bring up. I don't know if it's
Yeah,
relevant,
sure.
but when it comes to like psychological flow, I wonder how like meaning and tribulation can play into that, and a sense of purpose of like what you're trying to accomplish. Um, that's just something I've been dealing with recently. It's just like, I guess some of my psychological sufferings from my environment is just so intense
Mhm.
that there needs to be a sense of like there's a sense of tribulation, like, oh, like there's really no reason to live unless this like plays out a certain way, or else it'd be pretty tragic, you know. So,
Did you
but I
say
don't know, maybe that's just an idea. Huh?
Did you say purpose?
Yeah,
Can't remember.
purpose
Yeah, like purpose. No, I don't know. Like
and
I've
tribulation.
kind of, because I've felt like throughout my life as well, like especially growing up, like I felt like a kind of like my purpose was with like music and stuff like that. Like I wanted to be successful and things like that of whatever I thought it was. Like not successful in like getting like loads of stuff, but like I wanted to be successful in like doing shows and things. And I felt like that was like my purpose. But then I remember there was one time it kind of like hit me. I can't remember if it was said through like something that I'd watched or something, or whether it like kind of just naturally sprung. But it was like kind of like, how we even frame purpose. Like we kind of project into like this thing that we think is our purpose, but then like I kind of think about like our purpose right now. What would our purpose be right now?
Mm.
You know what I mean? Like
I mean,
talking, conversation, and then like
pro-
washing the dishes. or me
From what
looking
I'm
after my brother,
hearing,
my dad's gone away or something. I don't know.
so from what I'm hearing, Devin, like, are you saying like there is a leaning towards needing to find meaning in pain?
No, it's I feel like the more purpose you onboard, like your sense of service, you're gonna have to suffer to deliver,
Yeah.
whatever service you're doing. And for me, that's where my purpose comes from, is always being of service to
I
whatever
see.
I'm working on or who I'm working for. Or just for the greater, for the greater people, whatever they need. So
That's a big topic.
yeah, it's a big topic. Yeah. So maybe
Yeah.
just a footnote.
I guess that's what we talk a lot about in CC as well. Because I think I don't think it's very different. At least that's how I see it. Different from needing to find some sort of meaning in the sufferings that we have. Because I think for some of us, it kind of just leads to that, like needing
I
to.
find meaning in relieving suffering, not the suffering. There's no meaning in suffering. Just the relieving is probably where it comes from. If you can help others with suffering, that's where you're gonna.
That's meaning suffering right there, right?
Yeah.
You want to relieve the meaning suffering, so there's meaning suffering, which is okay, right? But you just see how your mind is wrapping stories, proliferating around, because that actually is suffering itself without that second dart, right? Either finding a meaning or finding a relief in meaning. That's the second dart that was thrown on top of the first dart that actually creates the suffering in the self-referential loop rather than just experiencing the raw sensation as it is. Then you can experience pain, you can experience exertion or even resistance, but suffering doesn't have to come into the picture.
I think I was getting I feel like I have a pretty decent sense of purpose. It's like doesn't feel like a second dart. It feels like it's a process more than a dart. Maybe that's the same thing.
Yeah, I think what I mean by second dart is just kind of like either the extra stories you tell.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I don't feel like it's an extra story. It feels like it's just a process of life unfolding within that dart. Yeah, it's like this suffering just makes sense, or hopefully it makes sense in this way.
I mean, it can make sense at some point, and then
exactly.
And then another point, then it will stop making sense, and that's fine. It just.
And then
I mean, even our purpose can invalidate itself as time goes by. So
yeah, that's a good point. Sometimes I mention for every practice you do, every method or whatever it is that you're doing, always investigate the purpose, intention, and then self-invalidate that whole container. Yeah, so purpose is okay. It's just as long as you see how it's contextual, how its purpose is relational as well. It depends on your intention, different things. But it's the clinging onto the purpose and creating an identity out of it that creates the suffering, because then if that purpose doesn't get met, or if your identity suffered because you're attached to the idea of purpose, like your sense of being, then
it's just holding on to that purpose, like not really grasping, but having it pretty efficient. I think that could be efficient.
And you see that the purpose actually is constantly changed too. It's in constant change. It's constantly self-invalidating itself. And I hope duality between purpose and purposelessness also gets transcended.
Yeah, if you just observe how purpose is created moment to moment, and don't compare the purpose of now with the one before, it will dissolve automatically. We will just don't need to actually go on and deconstructing it. Just be with the purpose of the moment, moment to moment, and you won't care anymore about this. You just things will dissolve by themselves if you do like that. That's at least is the method that I'm trying to apply right now.
Yeah, it frees up so much energy, because I think you can get so like fixed on like a certain position of where you think you are, where you think you're going in life, that it adds so much suffering that like because you feel like you're not there yet or something, or like you maybe are like, you know, that you need to get to this specific point, otherwise you're going to feel like a failure or something. And like, I think like, you know, you kind of just see through that, like you just imagining that, like that's where you think you should be. And even if you did end up in that scenario where, you know, you seemingly like got to the point where you wanted to be at, is it exactly the way that you think it is? Like, or the way that
Yeah.
it's unfolding in that respect, like, is it exactly how you imagined it then? Or is it even how you're imagining it now? Like, there's just so much like, yeah, it causes so much, like, it can cause so much. And I'm talking from like my life as well in that respect, like,
Yeah, no, that's fair.
it causes so much like unnecessary suffering in a sense when you're like so focused on where you think you should be or what you think your purpose is overarchingly, in a sense.
I feel like to tell a good story though, it's okay to have that. I think it's something I want to reject right now, if that makes sense. Because for me, it feels really intentional. Because like without suffering, you really cannot have a story. And if you want to create something that's going to be impactful, you need a story. That's just gonna be kind of can't really gather attention. So yeah. Like Frank, your story is full of the suffering and beautiful love stories, and that's why, you know, that's why you got what you do what you do.
Is it true though you can't really have stories without suffering?
Sorry, can you have stories without suffering?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it, like suffering makes more authentic, maybe? Or like pain. I guess you only like frame it as suffering, like the pain of it. I can see how it would be grasping onto something too heavily as possible. Yeah. Definitely needs some investigation. Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah, that the whole relationship you have with pain and suffering, and how you think that it has to be that way in order to have meaning, or a story wouldn't be able to exist. Yeah, there's different layers in there that you can see how these things are connected and things.
It kind of links to what you said before, Frank, like the kind of like all the kind of like thoughts are bad thing. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of label, you know, like narratives going through your mind, so to speak, or whatever, as being like, you know, I shouldn't have this. The more I have these, like the more I have thoughts, the more it's going to inherently lead to suffering or something or whatever, like, or the more I'm going to suffer by having thoughts. So you kind of have a favor to like have no thoughts. Even that like is
Yeah,
like a
we talked
thought, isn't it? Like,
about that.
and like there's been loads of times like you can kind of like, you know, your mind's kind of thinking itself, isn't it? In a way, like you know, you can kind of be sitting there and like, there's, I'll give an example, like say if you're going to bed or something or whatever, and you're kind of just laying there, you're not necessarily feeling bad or good or whatever. You're not really kind of potentially focused on anything, but your mind's kind of going through whatever random thoughts it's thinking. Do you know what I mean? Like, it doesn't necessarily link in that way.
Yeah. I think you find like the transmission or the practice tomorrow and the day after to be quite linked to what you guys are talking about. So yeah, we can't like talk about all the big life problems in one day. So got to leave some. I just thought to wrap it up. Very thankful, and it's nice to see everyone here, including all my teammates in CC. So just want to say thanks and hope to see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you for showing up.
Yeah.
Hopefully everyone comes back tomorrow. We have so much more to discuss.
Yeah, there is a lot more to discuss. Yeah. All right. So see you guys.
See you tomorrow.
Thank you so much. See you in a bit.
Thank you.